Hi everyone, I'm Gareth Black. I'm delighted to be here with Dr. Andy Bannister. As many of you know, Andy is scheduled to be one of our main stage speakers at New Horizon this summer. We're really looking forward to having him, and he's going to be involved in speaking in the evening celebrations and also in our seminar program. So Andy, it's really good to connect with you. Thank you for doing this for us. You and I know each other well. Some people might know you through your writing, others might know you from watching you online. Some people will not know you. So tell us who you are and what you do.
Yeah, so Andy Bannister is the name. I live in a town called Swindon, which is in the southwest of England. I live there with my wife Astrid and two kids. Got a 13-year-old daughter, 11-year-old son, so life is busy. And then work-wise, I head up an organisation called SOLAS. That's an evangelism and an evangelism training ministry. Originally started in Scotland back in 2010. SOLAS is the Scots Gaelic word for light. And we do two things really, Gareth. First thing we love doing is we love taking the message of Jesus out of the four walls of the churches. So we do loads of events in schools, universities. We help churches put on events in neutral spaces, cafes and the such like. And then we also love teaching and training Christians and equipping our people how to share Jesus with their friends. Because many of us, we love Jesus, we love our friends and our colleagues, but we just don't know how to talk to them about him. We clam up and everything. And we love just helping facilitate those conversations.
Yeah. Brilliant. Your accent suggests that you're not from around here. So not
I have
Northern
no
Ireland
idea
accent.
what you possibly mean.
Where did you grow up? Tell me a bit about your background
Yeah.
and how you became a follower of Jesus.
Yeah, so I've sort of been all over the place. So now we live in Wiltshire, or Wiltshire, as we would say over there. But I'm a Londoner originally, so I come from South London, or South London, as we would call it. And I had the real privilege of, I grew up there in the 70s and 80s, real privilege of growing up in a Christian home. So I was brought up in a Baptist kind of family. As my granddad used to say, you don't have to be Baptist to go to heaven, but why take chances? But then what happened with a lot of sort of kids from my kind of background, around about sort of 12 or 13, Gareth, I began working out, hang on, this is not my faith. This is my mum and dad's kind of faith. And it's great. I never rebelled or any of that stuff, but it was a disconnect. Well, as well as church, I was involved in an amazing youth organisation called Crusaders. Politically incorrect name today, but now called Urban Saints. And back then it was amazing, and they did a lot of sort of Bible studies and kids camps with young people. And so I was on a youth camp, aged about 12 or 13, and it was on the cliffs above Hastings on the south coast of England. And it literally was a dark and stormy night. It was a rain outside. The tent was bashing around, but one of our youth leaders preached it was the first time that the gospel really felt like it was being preached at me, and I felt Jesus, the Holy Spirit, just sort of say, right, this is the moment, dude. You need to stand up and respond. So there was an altar call at the end. I responded, gave my life to Christ, and that was the moment it went from being my parents' faith to now it was my faith, and everything went from there. So
I know that there's a lot of us here in Northern Ireland can connect with that story, moving from sort of an adopted faith, a faith that's largely your parents and you just go along with, to actually really taking ownership of your own faith and whether you believe this for yourself. So that connects with a lot of us.
Excellent.
You mentioned that you're the director of SOLAS.
Yes.
You are a speaker all over Europe and beyond in the realm of evangelism and apologetics. What does that look like day to day? What sort of things does that involve?
Yeah, so it involves a lot of travel. For a start, obviously, we're recording this in Belfast, so I'm over here on this side of the water. But huge amounts of travel and going to places where non-Christians are. That's the part of the big ethos at SOLAS. Sometimes we can be tempted to go, we'll just wait and we'll pray and we'll open the doors of the church and make some nice coffee and biscuits and assume people will come. And sometimes they do, but often they don't. So we have the privilege of going into places where folks are. So like universities, schools, those kind of places, love doing that. Particularly schools, actually, at the moment, doing loads of schools work, which is fantastic because young people are so open to faith at the moment, Gareth. We're in this amazing time in the Western world where I think we've gone past peak atheism, and young people are beginning to ask questions again, like, is there more to life? So we get to go and engage with that. And then we travel around the country too, just doing a lot of events in churches of all shapes and sizes, but actually quite a lot of smaller and medium-sized churches, really just helping equip people with practical tools to talk about faith on Monday morning. I get excited when I look around a church on a Sunday and I think, how can by God's grace I help the people here, wherever they are on Monday morning, feel they can talk about Jesus without freezing.
Yeah, no, that's Again, all of that experience is going to be something that you're going to be helping us with at New
That's the idea,
Horizon.
yeah.
And we're delighted to have you. Tell us a little bit more about what you're going to be bringing to New Horizon this year.
Yeah.
You're going to be doing 2 main stage talks, helping with our evening celebrations. You're going to be involved in the seminar program. You're going to be around for a good bit of the week. Tell us about what you're going to be sharing, and also then what would you say would be your hope for as we engage with the material you're going to bring to us and share with us? What would you hope the Lord would do in our hearts and lives through it?
Yeah. So hugely looking forward to being part of this. I've spoken at loads of kind of Christian festivals around the country, first time at New Horizon, so really grateful to you guys for inviting me. So I'm doing 2 of the main stage celebrations. So we're doing, my first one is a Jesus, Hope in Our Suffering. So we live in a world that's pretty messed up, right? You know, people listening to this are going like, yeah, tell me something I don't know. So for a lot of our friends who are outside the church, but also for those of us inside the church, the whole suffering question of how do we live through difficult times, whether it's ill health, whether it's uncertainty and fear with the way that the world's going? Well, of course, on one level, the answer is Jesus. But what does that look like? What's the difference that Jesus makes? How does he empower us to live with hope in that world? And how do we share that with others? So that's the first thing I'm doing. Secondly, I'm doing a main stage talk called Jesus, Director of Our Witness. So this ties into the how do we talk about Jesus at work, at the school gate with our family. Well, the great news is that Jesus himself has given us so much we can learn from. Jesus has numerous conversations in the New Testament where he talks to those who do not believe the same as he does. So I'm going to be helping us go, how do we learn from the Master? How do we learn how to have everyday conversations that just naturally then connect people to Jesus? So those are the 2 main stage sessions. Then for the seminars, I'm doing a seminar on artificial intelligence, AI, the good, the bad, and the ugly. We talked about uncertain world, right? AI and technology it seems every day that goes by, there is changes happening. And I was saying at the session I've just taught here in Belfast this afternoon where we're recording, that when I go into schools, I often ask the young people that I'm teaching, if I'm doing something on AI, okay, how many of you here are confident and encouraged about AI and technology? How many of you here are really terrified? About 80% regularly go for the terrified. So a lot of us are like deeply uncertain. And then as Christians on top, what do we do? So that's what we're going to think around. And I think the challenge for us as Christians, Gareth, is how do we avoid either just wildly embracing it, going, hey, it's tech, it must be amazing, and not asking any questions. Equally, how do we avoid going the other way, going, oh, it's demonic, it's terrible, it's all a disaster? I think the answer lies somewhere between those 2 things. So I'll be giving us some tools to think that through and then use AI to start conversations with our friends. And then the other seminar, it's such a privilege because not merely am I at New Horizon, a good mate of mine called Michael Otts, he's doing some of the evening celebrations and he and I teach a lot together. He's an evangelist like I am. So that you guys are taking a risk and putting the 2 of us into one seminar, and we're doing a seminar called Conversational Evangelism. And again, the same beating heart behind it. How do we equip people with everyday tools that whether you've been a Christian for 5 minutes or 50 years, you can go, I can talk to my friends about my faith. And my hope, you asked about that, my hope is that 2 things. People who are a bit wobbly in their faith and a bit unsure about some things will go away like encouraged and empowered. Sometimes I know at these events we get non-Christians too, because people bring friends and family. So people who come through the doors who perhaps haven't encountered Jesus, something that I say will make them go, man, I need to look at Jesus properly. But above all, I hope people get from New Horizon going, wow, when my friends at work or at school say to me, what did you do last week? I won't just go, oh, I went to a Christian festival, and I go quiet. I'll be able to go, I went to a great festival, and I learned about Jesus, and I want to talk about him. And we'll have given you some tools that you're ready to talk about Jesus in those Monday through Friday places. Yeah.
Brilliant, Andy. Thank you so much. We're really looking forward to having you. We hope that that's given you a little bit of a taster of what Andy's going to bring to the conference. Please be praying for Andy in his preparation as we move towards the event. Pray for our other speakers as well. As ever, we've got a packed week of different events, different speakers, different topics, loads of events for our children and for our young people. So that's going to be us at the big tent, the big blue tent, from the 1st to the 7th of August on the Ulster University Korean campus. We hope to see you there.